Hello, Robert Deming. Welcome to Paso del Camino, a project about the Camino de Santiago to the Camino de Santiago, and it's really a pleasure for me to have the opportunity to talk to you. Thank you so much for accepting this challenge, and I hope you enjoy it.
Yes, thank you.
So let's start from the beginning, right? So how you found it? How you found about the way of St. James the Camino?
The film, The Way. I have breakfast with some friends every Friday morning
Yeah,
until the pandemic. We did.
yeah,
But I'm on a team that does prison ministry in Texas, where I live, and we have these breakfast meetings with a lot of us who do this uh, team. And at breakfast, he handed me the DVD and he said, "Hey, here's a movie you'd like." So I watched it the next day, and then I wrote that down as a goal that I was going to accomplish.
that's amazing. That's amazing. So when you saw the movie, what was that attracted you more? That put you together and just said, "I want to do this. I need to do this."
Yeah, yeah. The adventure of it, and the opportunity to meet people from around the world together. That sounded like something I would really like to do. I've been a walker for a long time.
Yeah,
I've been a backpacker. I've spent easily 25 weeks hiking in the mountains of the West in the US, climbing mountains, hiking mountains. So I've done walking vacations for a long time. And that just, I thought, well, that's perfect.
yeah.
I'm a hiker.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So now looking back and after several caminos, what the camino means to you?
Say that again.
What the camino means to you?
Oh, it's a lot of different things. It was a marvelous experience from the social point of view. I made some very good friends that are still friends, and but there's also some spiritual transformation. You know, that I think everybody experiences. I did. I was able to, um, I think, relax. I'm 68 now. I was 65 then, and I was able um, to get out of the mode of just making money and keeping things going. I've been doing that since I was young, and I was able to back up and say I want more out of life than just working and a 1 week vacation a year. And it started a whole new adventure for me. I've been on several walks since then, and that's all I want to do now is go to Europe and walk. I mean, that's my definition of what I want. One of the things I want. I have grandchildren too, but one of the things I want is to, more than anything, is to go do walks in Europe, long walks. The longer, the better.
That's really amazing. That's really amazing. So let me show you something. Okay, this is a small image of St. James. That
Hmm.
this image, I used to on my first Camino. Okay, I have five Caminos.
Hmm.
Um, I walked three times. Walk no, the first one was on a bike. The other one was walking. The first, my first Camino, it was the first Portuguese Camino. Um, so I have three Portuguese Caminos.
Hmm.
Then the Primitivo, and last year, fortunately, I was able to walk the Winter Camino.
Hmm.
Um, so on my first Camino, one of the most special ones, in Pontevedra on the Portuguese Camino, here in Portugal, comparing to the Spanish, we really had dinner really early, really early. You there in America more earlier than us, but we well, comparing to the Spanish people, we like to have even more early dinner than them. They
Hmm.
are really late. I don't know why. So in that time I was alone, and at 7 p.m. I was looking out for a place to have my dinner, but I couldn't find it. At that time, it's impossible. It was impossible to find a place where just find a substantial meal. If you want some tapas or pinchos, that you could find it. But for a substantial meal, it was really difficult. So I was looking there for like, I don't know, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and then I just found this small bar restaurant within he has the, I don't know, 4 tables inside and two more tables outside. It was really small, and then the front balcony, and that was it. And I entered it, and there they just it was just there, the owner and his daughter, nothing more. So I was trying to convince the owner to make me something quick. So he added some I don't know, some fish and chips or something like that. So I was there. I came outside. I was in one of the tables outside, and suddenly I was eating. I was drinking my beers, chilling out, and suddenly it was like in a downhill street. It was suddenly from up appears to me like three girls looking out really serious to me, and I don't know why, but I look out to them, and because of the clothes, I may have understand that they were pilgrims too. But then they got really close to me, and I was looking out for what I was having, what I was eating, and then in English I said, "So, hello, how are you? What are you doing?" And then they said to me, they saw me eating a substantial meal, and they are also looking out to a dinner, and they were from two from California, the other one from Seattle, and two other from Ottawa. But they were friends, and they were walking the Portuguese Camino, the coastal Camino, and I met them in that time. So after that, they didn't speak any Spanish, so I helped them to get the same meal at the same point, and then we are talking about our Caminos, sharing some experiences, some moments, and after that, right in front of us, there was like artisanal brewery, with sorry, with beer, ancient beer. And then we went there. We were there drinking a lot of beer, and we quickly made really good friendship, and we decided the next day to talk together. That was amazing. That was really, it was for me. It was outstanding for me to meet them, to meet this woman. And at one of the times, I used to my wooden stick. It was like glued to the wooden stick was an image like this. And at some point on the not yeah onto the next stage, the stick had followed me and broke the image that I had, and that was it. I picked up, but I glued him up, but I put it on my backpack just to not happen again. So lately, when we arrived in Santiago, in our last stage, we don't walk together because something that happens to them on their place of staying the last night. So we met after the Pilgrim's Mass, in the evening after the Pilgrim's Mass, to have dinner together and celebrate our arrival. And then suddenly, the first thing when I arrived to the table, they offered me just like this image of Saint James.
Mhm.
For me, it was one of my best moments. I'm Christian. I'm Catholic. I'm really really. even I guess even more religious than even more. I don't know, maybe more devoted to Saint James than just religion, just Christian and Catholic. I guess I have a really amazing connection to Saint James, and this was one of my best moments of the Camino. So my next question is regarding that. So if you could go back to relive again your best moment on the European Caminos, which moment you choose?
My best time was in France on the Camino from La Puy.
Yeah,
Last September of 2019.
Yeah.
I I went with some friends I had met on the trail there in France the year before, and we walked to the GR 651 from it's kind of around Cahors. It's a loop,
Yeah.
and that was that was the best 10 days I've spent in my entire life. We had so much fun, and France is wonderful, and the people, my friends were wonderful, and that was such an extraordinary experience. It was not an emotional experience. It
Yeah.
was so I had walked several other things by that time, but it was the most heartfelt, good time with really good friends in beautiful places, and we had wonderful food. So it was France, and that around Cahors, near Cahors.
That was amazing. So when you decided and you go to walk the first time the French Camino,
Yes,
um, what was your first impression?
I'm very confused about how this went. I had not done any research about it.
Yeah.
I had a guidebook. I had the hiking gear, and I had no idea how this worked. I met a guy at the train station in um, Bayonne. I flew to Bayonne, and the next morning I got to the train station. And while I was waiting for the train, which turned out to be a bus, I met a guy, Michael, who was a German, and he spoke some English, and we became friends. And then on the bus, I sat next to a guy who was a Frenchman who spoke English, and I had no idea what we were doing next. I just know we're going to Saint Jean. I have no idea beyond that. So he said, "Follow me. I'll show you." So we walked to an albergue, got a bed, and we had dinner. He took me to the pilgrim's office. Here, you sign in here. I had a credential already from the American Pilgrims
Okay.
and a guidebook, but that's all the preparation I had. Got a shell there, and the next morning we got down the trail, and he was a fast walker, much faster than me. So we got started on the trail, and he said, I'm going to walk faster. I'll see you down the trail somewhere. But I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
I didn't know any of those things. So it was very helpful. I never saw him again because he got to be a day or two ahead of me. But the German guy and we met up on the trail a lot, and we walked together for the entire time. And with his other German friends, we ended up with there were 5 of us, all Germans, but Germans and Austrian, but me. And we had so that was my Camino family, was all those Germans. I had no idea what I was doing when I started, not a clue.
Actually, that reminds me of something that happened to me right on my first day in the first ever Camino. So at the time then I decided to do the Camino, I actually kind of know what it was.
Mhm.
But the thing that I was more interested in to know about it was why people are doing this,
Mhm.
why, for what reasons. So this was where I look more into it than just go prepared for the pilgrimage itself. And on my first day, I like I said to you before, it was on a bike. And my first day, I went there. It was late October. I arrived in at the albergue. It was a municipal albergue, and it was really really cold at that day. It was really cold, and uh, I don't know. It were like more than I don't know, maybe 20 pilgrims at the albergue at that time, and in the night, I didn't know, but in my first day I didn't backpack. I didn't pack a sleeping bag. So I started my first Camino without a sleeping bag. So in that day, in that night was really 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 cold. It was for me impossible to sleep that night. I don't know, maybe altogether 2 hours and a half or maybe less. It was really really difficult to live that night. But there was one thing there was like this Irish woman, right? One bed. So let me understand. So I was here. There's a Spanish guy here, and over there are the Irish lady, old Irish lady, um, and she was snoring a lot. It was out. It was really really screaming, snoring, screaming, snoring. It was really out loud, really out loud. But without with the cold, the snoring, I couldn't sleep, and almost anything. So in the morning, I was just preparing myself to beginning the stage, and this Spanish guy came out and speaks to me. Did you snore all night? No, I didn't snore all night. But I thought that was you. No, maybe it could have been me, but I didn't sleep, so I could it was a lady outside you. So that was my first night.
Yeah.
My first impression of the Camino was that night. It was so fun, so fun. So let's talk about some mythical points on the French Camino. Um, what was the feeling of walking by places like the Iron Cross, the Alto El Alto del Perdón, or the Osobreiro, some mythical places on the Camino?
Mhm. Yeah, they weren't all that special to me.
Yeah.
I I by that time I knew what the story was about some of those, but to me they were not significant places, other than I'd seen them in the film,
Yeah.
and so I knew what they were about. Yeah.
Okay. So now, please, I just need you if you want, please share some stories, share some moments that stick out to your head while and that you lived while walking the Camino.
Yes. Well, I had been reading a couple of books, and I was working through several books at the same time, and I had them on my phone. And I was reading. One of them was about living in the present moment. It's by a woman called Gina Lake, and it's called "In This World but Not of It."
Yeah.
And it was about humans being spiritual beings in a physical body, temporary physical body, and then about living in the present moment. And that, I think, I read that while I was walking the Camino. So about 4, 5, 6 days in, I was pissed off. I'm walking this trail. It's a perfect walking day. A little bit, just kind of a little cool, sunshine, not a strong wind. I was by myself, walking down a very nice gravel path. And I thought, why am I pissed off? What's that about? This is stupid. You're in this beautiful place. This looks like to me, maybe it's a once in a lifetime experience. What are you in such a bad mood for? So I thought to what I had been reading, and I decided that I would try to place myself just in the present, in that moment, and forget everything else that existed before or would come in the future, and just that moment. So what I did was, to start with, I closed my eyes. I kept walking. It's a straight path. I closed my eyes while I was walking, to see all the things that I could feel, hear, and smell while I was walking down that hill. I could hear the crunch, the gravel crunch, crunch, crunch of my steps. I could feel the breeze blowing on across my face. I could hear some birds singing, and I could smell, there were a lot of roses blooming, and I was near roses, and I could smell the roses there right by the trail. And that allowed me to be right there at that moment. And I forgot about the past, and I didn't worry about the future. And I came back to that many times to not be fearful. I don't know why I was fearful, because I didn't know what was coming ahead, probably. Was there going to be a bed? Was I going to walk alone the whole time? I walked alone a lot, but not all of it. And I gave all that fear up. And at that point, I began to have a really much better experience. And I never got fearful again. Although one time, somewhere kind of late in the trip, I woke up at 6:30 and it was pouring down rain. And I had I had a rain jacket. I didn't have rain pants. And it was cold and pouring down rain. I thought, great, this is going to be terrible. I walked in the rain several days on that Camino. It was spring of June of 17.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of fearful at that moment. But then I got out and I walked in the rain, and my rain gear is fine. And then the rain quit, and it was one of those perfect walking days ever. After that, the sun came out. This was before sunrise. And the sun came out, and it was magic. And I never looked back after that. I'd start every day knowing it was going to be hard, knowing that it might rain all day, it might be cold, which it was a few days, but that I was going to be fine. And because I was able to just worry about right now, not the past, not the future. And that's something that I still have to work at. That you can slip back into those old habits of worrying about the past and the future, and you have to work at coming to the moment that you're in right now. And when you can get there, at least at my age, when you can get there, it's a lot happier place to be, because there's a lot of stuff in the past I just as soon forget, and there's things in the future that I might should worry about. So it's when I was raising children, and I had to have a very intense job. Maybe that was harder to be in the present moment, but that's what I practice now. I work at that. I remember that moment, that time, and I put myself there, and I focus on right now, like being here with you. I'm not anywhere else. I'm just with Guillermo talking on a Zoom video. I don't have to worry about the past or the future, or what's happening next, or what happened yesterday.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So I actually know that you are used to do some presentations about the Camino to other people.
Yes.
How can you try to how can I put it like this, attract people to do this? How
Yeah.
what is the way that you find to make people think about doing the Camino?
Yeah. Well, one of the things is we have an association here in Texas, the American Pilgrims on the Camino Association. We have an Austin chapter that's, until the pandemic, was very active. And so I did we had Camino 101 at an REI, which is an outdoor equipment store.
Yeah.
I presented a number of those. So what I tried to focus on was the preparations that you needed to make, particularly about gear, about taking, finding the right pair of shoes. I did not help them find the right pair of shoes, but we talked about finding the right pair of shoes and being prepared for blisters, not taking too much, taking good rain gear, taking very light things, and trying to be very minimalistic on your approach to what you're taking with you, and to be prepared to go with no expectations. Just you have the gear, you got the guidebook, you got a credential. That's all you need to know. You really don't need to know what my experience was or what your experience is going to be, because it'll unfold when it comes. So that's how I approach that.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So One of the questions, one of the things that most stick out to any pilgrim on the Camino is the companionship, is the sharing those with pilgrims from all over the world, and met these amazing stories that people always have to tell us. And for me, I have like this one. So before my first Camino, I was in Barcelos from the Portuguese Camino, just speaking to pilgrims and trying to understand and ask them why they are doing the Camino. That's
Mhm.
the question now. I was doing always. And at some point, I met this young girl from Germany, and she was telling me, so this is my second Camino. The first time was the French one. I was walking with my father because our trying to rebuild our relationship, and then that was amazing Camino. And thankfully, I my relationship with my father is now much better than it was. So, and she was telling me a month a month later, after she arrives from the Camino, she has like a big car accident, and for what I understand, she was dead for like a minute. And then she told me, I am doing the Camino because I want to say thank you to God, because let me be alive. And this story for me just, I have more, but this story always stick out to my head, and this film always stick out to my head. It's just amazing. My next question is on your Caminos. Um, what or where or who was the pilgrim that you met that stick out more to your head?
Yeah, there were several. I made, I said, very good friends with some Germans who did not speak English, and I don't speak German, but we had a great time walking together. Um, but I met a woman from near where I live, and after the Camino, we started dating. We dated for a year. I wanted to get married. She didn't. So we're not together now, but we walked Portugal. We started in Lisbon and walked Portugal
Yeah,
together on the Camino. And that was one of the best experiences of my life. We had a fabulous time, but then we broke up after that.
yeah,
But it's for me, I didn't walk. I walked with her 2 days,
yeah.
and then we met up at the end. And she lives an hour and 15-minute drive from me here in Texas, and that was very very special. I'm very sad that it's not we're not in a relationship at the moment. I haven't given up yet though, bravely on that. I don't think know that she has or not. But that was to me was very special. I did not expect that. I was not looking for a girlfriend.
Yeah.
I was not expecting to meet someone like that. But that kind of changed my life too. Yeah, it was and the walk in Portugal. Portugal was the next year with her was Portugal was magic. It was a wonderful place. We didn't walk all of
Yeah.
Portugal. We walked 8 days out of Lisbon, and
Okay.
then we took a train
The
to
Porto.
to Porto.
Yeah.
We went to actually to Coimbra and then Porto 2 different days, and then we started walking again at Porto and walked Santiago, and so that year was a year with her was really fantastic. Yeah, I met her on day 4 on the French Camino, briefly, just briefly, and then I ran into her again on probably day 13 or 14. And at that time, I got her phone number and I had dinner with her. So then I met her at the end again,
That's
and it was a
amazing.
very significant thing for me. I really wanted to get married.
That's
I hadn't been
amazing.
married in a while. I've been married before, but didn't happen. So yep,
Maybe another time, and she will be
yeah,
more
well,
open to that.
yeah,
She will be
yeah.
more
I
open to
haven't given up yet. Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So do you know actually do you know the pandemic virus always will for every people on the world uh, it ruined some plants, our plants,
Hmm.
and I was one of them. I was one of them because in the early of 2020, I was trying to go to study in Santiago. I
Hmm.
um, I wanted to take a degree in history. I am really passionate
Hmm.
about history,
Hmm.
and my idea was to go to study in Santiago. But then the paperwork that were right were just in Spain, waiting to be approved. It was suspended.
Hmm.
Um, but the Camino had teaching me a lot that we can't give up. We can't give up. It's impossible.
Hmm.
If we
Hmm.
want to fight for our dreams, you can't give up. If you want to fulfill your dreams, you can't give up. That's one of the best things that the Camino has taught me. Um, and that's why my next question: what the Camino teaches you?
Hmm. Not to worry, not to worry.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
For me, live today. Don't worry about anything
Carpe
else.
diem. Carpe
And you
diem.
and you have to remember that all the time. But I don't worry nearly like I used to about anything ever. In the middle of the night, sometimes you worry about things. You wake up and you worry about
Yeah,
things. I don't do that. I tell it to go away. I'm not interested in that. I tell my brain, say, tell that thought to go away. I'm not going to worry about it. I don't worry anymore.
that's
Maybe
amazing.
it's because I'm older, but you know, it's going to be fine. It's all going to work out. That's that's I don't have to worry. So I don't have to worry about it.
That's really
And
amazing.
my plan for last year that was ruined by the pandemic, I was going to walk the Via Francigena from
In Italy.
Canterbury to Rome. I had 3 months laid out. I was ready to go in April, but I'm ready to go this April. Not going to happen. I think. Yeah, that was my
I,
pandemic plan
I, I
was.
met I met some fellow pilgrims that had walked, and they said me the most amazing things about
Yeah.
that. That's unbelievable. So why you have on your on your house a big statue of Saint Rock?
Yeah, I do. Right here. He's right here. I saw him he was at an antique sale. So Saint Rock, he's dressed like a
He is a
pilgrim,
pilgrim. It was a
but
he was a pilgrim
it's
to Rome,
it's
through
got the
Rome.
scout, but it is Saint Rock.
Yeah.
I ran across Saint Rock in France many times. I've walked France twice, two different times, and he's all over the place there. Yeah. The people I bought him from was an antiques dealer. They had no idea who he was. They had no idea.
And you just saw the scallop shells and
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
this
And
is
I
it.
thought, oh, I got to have that. It's not an expensive piece. It's made out of fiberglass or something. I think probably in a mold, definitely, and then painted. It's not something made out of wood and plaster 300 years ago. This was probably made in the last 20 or 30 years. If it was old, I wouldn't have been able to afford it anyway.
Yeah.
He's my companion here in the house,
that,
Saint Rock.
that was really amazing. So let's talk about the important thing of the Camino that always is there. It's the food and the drink. So for you, what was the most memorable food that you have on the Camino and drink?
Oh, I visited Madrid. I was in the Air Force as a pilot when I was young, and I spent a month in Madrid, and I had the tortilla there many times for breakfast
Then
when I was in the town, and for me, I love tortilla, and I've made it many times in my house. My kids grew up with tortillas in for breakfast a lot, but for me, that's the tortillas was just every day for breakfast a tortilla and a café con leche. The best they make the best coffee in Spain.
yeah,
I don't know how it is, but that was always fun. Zumo and tortilla and a café con leche. Yeah, that was my. I had some other food that was good and some very good, but that to me, that's the Camino. That's the food that fueled me through the Camino.
yeah, tortilla is just not funny.
Yeah.
You know, actually, for me, I love it so much. And for the Spanish, it's like, okay, this is normal. It's what we're used to. It's a normal food, okay. But for me, I don't have the same here in Portugal. Or maybe we have, but um, the way that they prepare it, it's not the same. So the taste is not the same. So when I am in Spain, I need to eat the tortilla.
Yes.
Just for me, it's just outstanding. Um, so, Robert, we're almost finishing here, but one last question, okay? So, what advice can you give a pilgrim that will start the Camino for the first time?
That's very easy. Go without expectations and go by yourself. You can invite all your friends and they'll say, oh, we're coming, but they'll drop out.
Yeah,
Go by
well,
yourself with no expectations of what's going to happen, and you will have an experience. You cannot predict the experience. You can't control the experience. So don't even try. Just take it one day at a time without expectations, and just start walking. The
that,
magic will happen. You have to give up the idea that you're in control of that. Something magic about the Camino. I'm not sure if it works in the rest of life, but on the Camino, maybe it's the millions of pilgrims that have walked ahead of you, but you can't control it. It will take control of you. All you have to do is just surrender your ego and your will, and just start walking, and the magic will happen.
that's amazing. That's amazing. So, Robert, we're finishing right here, but thank you so much. It was really a pleasure to be able to talk to you. Thank you so much for this.
Yeah, I enjoyed getting to know you, Guillermo.
And I want you to know that you have a friend in me. And the first time you came to Spain or even to Portugal, please let me know. I'll be glad to.
I'll be there again. I believe me, I will be there again.
I'm really happy
Yes,
to receive you in here and to pay some beers
yes,
and some food.
yes.
Thank you so much.
Okay. All right. Good day.
Good day. Bye.